This last question is a little bit harder to answer. So it's harder to answer in that I need to show you things. So I'm going to be popping up onto the screen, onto this banner underneath me, different ways of thinking about this. So I have to, my editor, who I respect, says that, sorry, I have to look for this question because it doesn't all list here. Okay. My editor, who I respect, says that asking questions in the narrative throws readers out. It's third person point of view close, and it's things like the door was ajar. She knew she locked it. Enter or run. She wasn't sure which to do. And the questioner goes on to say, I don't want to not give this editing comment the thought it deserves. Okay, so here we go. This is the first example. The door was ajar. She knew she locked it. She wasn't sure which to do. And then the next part is actually the part of the comment. So, first, I think it's important when we're talking about this to talk about both deep point of view and close third. And some people think that they are exactly the same thing. I don't agree. I think there is a difference between deep point of view and close third, because writing a true deep point of view is really difficult and could be exhausting if you're trying to write it for long periods of time. So when we're talking about deep point of view, essentially what deep point of view does is it removes the narrative voice, and instead it's putting you, the reader, directly into the mind of the character. So we have the character's experiences directly on page, not being filtered through a narrative. In close third, we still have that narrative quality, so it feels more like we are being told some things, but also experiencing some things. So I'm going to run you through some different examples, and essentially, I think if I put these up right, it leads you through like a deeper point of view. And then I'm going to come back kind of as I'm doing this to answer this question precisely. But I think it helps to see examples. So this is the original example. The door was ajar. She knew she locked it. Enter or run. She wasn't sure which to do. And the first thing that I want to point out here is that the the problem here isn't necessarily the question. For one thing, you're using a filtering system here. She knew she locked it. So she knew is a filter, that instead of delivering the experience, it actually kind of filters the character's perception. So I'm going to show you what this can look like in another close point of view. And then I'm going to tell you why the editor might be struggling with the question. So here's a closer point of view. The door was ajar. She'd locked it. Entering seemed like a risky option, but running wasn't her style. She took a step forward. So there's some changes here, and I think it's pretty obvious that there's changes. So the first one is I just cut that filtering perception of she knew. So instead of she knew she locked it, it becomes she locked it, which is an affirmative statement. Then I did take out the question and I said, instead of saying enter or run, I said entering seemed like a risky option, but running wasn't her style. She took a step forward. And I added that at the end because it needs a little bit of context. So I don't know what's coming in yours, but it just needs a little context. So, and when I changed entering seemed like a risky option, but running wasn't her style, instead of asking what seems like maybe asking the audience a question, instead of asking herself a question, I give information about the two options. One is she could enter, but it's risky, or two, running really isn't who she is. So you get a little bit closer to the character in understanding her. So when you ask this question, enter or run, as I mentioned, can seem like you're either talking to the audience, asking the audience a question, or she's talking to herself in a conscious way. So one of the things again, that we do actually know, there's been research done on this, is that people have different thought patterns, which seems like an obvious thing to say. But some people have a running commentary in their head, and they are constantly like running through scenarios and almost talking to themselves and asking themselves questions. But some people don't have that running commentary. I have running commentary, so I don't know what it looks like in the other way. But I know that some people don't have running commentary. And so when they encounter a situation like the original, the door was ajar, she knew she locked it, enter or run, she wasn't sure which to do. Asking a question seems really self-conscious and more like something that you would do if you were talking to somebody else, not if you were talking to the audience. So for some readers, it can feel like a disconnect or pulling them out of the story, or just feel like a more shallow point of view. However, when you read things about deep point of view, when you read recommended sources about deep point of view, one of the things that some people who do deep point of view suggest is asking questions instead of like filtering a perception. Like, ask a question. So this, I think, it fits for close third. In certain situations, I think it can work in a deep point of view. I don't think it feels like in this example it's in really close or deep point of view. So I do think that this is a shallow point of view, or shallower than perhaps the author thought they were writing in. And um, that may be what the editor is trying to get at without realizing that the she knew was also a problem. And so just recognizing that the question may seem self-conscious or like talking to the audience, that's what the editor keyed in on. So I'm going to show you a couple of other kind of options for thinking about what this looks like in a deep point of view and a close third. So this is, I put this one in first point of view because, or excuse me, first person, because I think this question is a good one, but some people are writing in first, and I also changed it to present tense. So the previous two were third past, and this is first person because I want you to see what a close point of view looks like in first person. The door is ajar. I locked it. Entering seemed risky, but I'm not one for ignoring problems either. A shot of bravado mixed with stupidity propels me through the door. So this tells you what the author is feeling, what she's experiencing, what the reader character is experiencing and thinking and feeling. So without telling you, again, I locked it. So instead of she knew she locked it, I make an affirmative statement. I'm making a strong statement. I locked it, rather than kind of a wishy-washy, she knew she locked it. I locked it. I'm saying it. I'm affirming it to myself. I know. And then again, instead of the question, I'm making a statement that mixes um, my feelings with the issue at hand, or my personality or my characterization with the issue at hand. Entering entering seemed risky, but I'm not one for ignoring problems either. So a little bit of information there. And then the decision, I just added the decision there. Then the last one is, again, close third. And this is using the question. The door was ajar. She'd locked it. That affirmative statement makes a big difference in this little paragraph. Enter or run. It wasn't an easy choice. So instead of using the she wasn't sure at the end, I used it wasn't an easy choice, which again pulls out a little bit of that narrative and gets you closer to close third.